If you clicked on the video, then you already know what we're gonna do. We're gonna hop into the 5-minute pool, and we're gonna play a little bit of Blitz here on Lichess, going up against Gil Lores, who I just played in a game before this. They did not decline one of my gambits, but this time they have no choice. We're in for it. So this is the Elephant Gambit, and let's see how this game is going to go. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, what a crazy gambit. I've never seen this one before. Well, that just means that you've never tuned into the channel, because here comes Elephant Gambit number like 100 at this point. It's the only thing I can win with, so you're going to see a lot of it. Maybe Bishop C4? This was the video we put out yesterday. This is a big mistake. A lot of people like to do it, though. You get to target my F-pawn, one of the biggest mistakes. Knight C6, challenging the knight. If you take it, I take you back. Knight C6, most common. Sometimes you see C4, sometimes you see other random stuff. Opponent tried to sneak Bishop B5 in, but I've been here before, and I already know that this is worse for white. I can't say losing yet. I don't think that they are lost, but if they move their bishop away, they might suddenly find themselves in a lot of trouble. This is a winning position now for black. Something where there's long lines where we're going to head into... we're going deep into the forest here. We're headed into a long line of prep. A3 is not usual. A3 is weird to me. I will insist on putting this guy in. And I'm pretty sure I just take and then continue as usual. And the usual way of continuing is bishop to g4, putting pressure on this guy. You take, my knight comes in, and then there's just simply too much pressure on e3. And because you've played a3 in this position instead of some random queen move, the opponent here won't even be able to castle on the queen side. So I'm now no longer in prep, but this position, but with the queen already on e2 instead of all of this nonsense, is very, very strong for black. So I imagine this should be another easy win with the Elephant Gambit. But it's a 5-minute game, so I also have a ton of time. I guess if I have a completely winning position, I should take my time, try to be accurate here in the execution. But, I mean, it's just, we're just attacking this so many different ways. How should we continue? And I don't even know what white's going to do. I think they're going to try to defend this thing, of course. But then I should be able to just take. And then probably just take. Take and take back. I think no matter what they do, I think take and take back is just going to be very strong for me. But when you have a good position, you don't want to let the advantage go. Okay. Yeah, I mean, whatever. 14 move win with the Elephant Gambit. It was losing. It wasn't looking good for them. But this has been played before. So if you've never seen the Elephant Gambit, here we go one more time. But wait, let's turn the engine off, man. Let's hide the fact that it's not that good. Just kidding. Let's keep the engine on. You can see the truth, okay? It's a particularly dubious gambit that you can play as black, but I keep playing it because it keeps working, and as long as it keeps working, I'm going to keep making videos on it. And this is actually one of the most common ways that the opponents will make mistakes. Now, against e4, e5, knight f3, d5 is the Elephant Gambit. And again, we don't care how the opponents are going to be taking this. We are going to continue with knight to f6. And after the other thing gets taken, we are going to continue with queen to d5. Now, if you ask your engine, this is already +2. So this is a very dubious way of playing as black. But you'll also notice Joe Bava has, in serious games, in like a lot of rapid games, played this and actually very successfully, which is surprising because you don't often see somebody that strong playing something that is this dubious. But now my opponents played d4. This is what I seem to face the most often. And here you play knight to c6, challenging this knight. Now, yesterday's video, if you want to go back, it was bishop to c4, which is a very common mistake, allowing this with the idea that after they take this, they're completely losing after king to e7. This is a very popular trap that people fall for. But when they don't fall for that, they usually are taking this knight and then bringing this knight out to c3. So we've managed to successfully remove white's only active and dangerous piece. The opponent now threatens bishop to b5, so we play bishop to b4, setting up a counter trick. Like, we're going to be taking twice on c3 and trying to win some material. So that's why you will see that 71% of time people are playing bishop to d2, but this supernatural move, just defending against our threat, is actually a big mistake that most often gets compounded into an even worse position, because now after we just simply castle, it becomes very difficult for the opponents. And this is a main position here. You're going to face this one a ton of times if you're playing the Elephant Gambit, and there's two very popular mistakes that opponents make. 36% of the time, people are going to play bishop to e2, like in my game, but now we're going to understand why the queen is so powerful on this diagonal. She's able to take this pawn. The other common mistake is here, which seems like a sensible move for white to be able to play. You bring your queen out because you want to be able to go on the king side, and I've had a bunch of games where we've won with this line that starts with rook to e8, and then after bishop to e2, there's you get to remove this defender, and basically you're going to put all of your pressure. You're going to try to go after this. We've explored this in many other videos, so I won't go too deep into it. You can take this guy. You can play bishop to g4. Many ways of winning that position. But bishop e2 is even more common, 36% of the games from this position. But now after you take this, there's kind of a long forced line that has some funny moves potentially hidden deep into this endgame. So after this, you're attacking the rook, so bishop to f3 makes the most sense, defending the rook. You move your queen away, or you give the check. Move order I don't think is particularly important in this particular situation. But now is where usually opponents play queen to e2, preferring to castle on the queen side. My opponent instead played a3, which is even worse than what normally happens. But what normally happens is they play queen to e2. Now you play rook to e8, so there's stuff going on this diagonal. They need to play bishop to e3 in order to defend on the e-file. But now bishop to g4 comes into play, and the line goes takes, takes. If they do castle queenside, you take on e3, and you're able to break through, shatter this structure. You're also going to be taking on c3, which is going to shatter the opponent's kingside. Now, you're only up one pawn at the moment, and here's another interesting position where most players go to c4, which is a little bit less accurate. This allows you to just go here, and if takes back, this is a completely winning position for black, but they should be going here, so at least they're targeting this b pawn, but then you get to do basically the same thing, and if they take this, there's a lot of interesting lines, I guess, but you can just bring your rook over, and you're going to be completely winning. You're still a pawn up, but most importantly, this king is really exposed, and your king is very safe. Now, instead of seeing that, after I went back here, the opponent did not play queen to e2, but rather a3. This was a new one to me, but it's not particularly good. I gave the check first, forcing this guy up. I took the knight. And after this, the opponent is about to resign. It's really tough, so I'm about to take this. I took with my knight, and there's no real good way of continuing. I guess queen takes g4 might be the best, which means you probably resign. Queen somewhere also, I think, makes a lot of sense. Queen d3, I don't think a human would play, though, because if you can't really take back this way, you're just going to be losing material. I thought maybe he would try here, or maybe here, but it's just all so grim. Something like this was going to happen. Queen f3, oof, what a brutal move. Queen f3. Attacking the rook, but also denying the king the ability to castle. Oof, it's just so brutal, because if you come in with something like this, you're going to be losing a queen. Even something like just taking here would have been very strong. So I saw a line like this. I knew that I'd be at least winning this rook, something like this. So that's why my opponent had to resign. And if you can find it within your heart to hit that subscribe button and help me become the full-time content creator that I'm trying to be, help the channel grow, I'd really appreciate it. And I'll see you guys for the next video.